I didn't want to raise this with the previous two speakers because obviously the Sudan situation is a situation in and of itself. But so much of what they said very powerfully about the conflict in Sudan could also, or does also, apply to what's happening in Gaza. And when they say, when the ambassador and special envoy talk about how every arms shipment leads us closer to famine and a failed state, do you not think that that same logic applies in Gaza? Just because it's you who are supplying the weapons, as opposed to whoever it is, the Iranians, the Emiratis, the Egyptians, whoever it is that's supplying the weapons in Sudan, doesn't the same thing apply?
I would say that we are incredibly concerned about the humanitarian situation in Gaza, and that's why you've seen the United States government working to get more humanitarian assistance in. And it's why we've been pushing the Israeli government so hard to let more humanitarian assistance in and to improve their deconfliction and coordination measures so there isn't such a loss of political life. And then on the political front, it's why we have been pushing with partners in the region to develop a plan for post-conflict governance in Gaza. So we don't see a failed state. So we don't see anarchy in Gaza. So we see a path forward for the Palestinian people's legitimate aspirations. That is very much the policy that we are trying to pursue and that we have been engaged in this administration from the president on down.
But is it correct then, though, that the administration believes that every arms shipment to Sudan leads us closer to famine and a failed state, that does not apply?
You have a very different
in Gaza.
You have a very.
I get that,
it is a very different situation in Sudan, where you have a brutal civil war, two warring parties trying to seize control of the government, and in Israel, where you have Israel responding to a terrorist attack against its people and trying to achieve a legitimate counterterrorism and military purpose. That does not change at all the severity of the humanitarian situation, which is why we have been working so hard to improve that humanitarian situation for the people in Gaza.
So you don't think that every arms shipment to Israel leads us closer to famine?
We have continued to support Israel's right to
it doesn't matter to me one way or the other.
They are different conflicts, but
I know they are. But I'm just asking you. They made the point in Sudan,
and I'm answering.
And I just want to know if you feel the same way about that.
They are very different conflicts, but the humanitarian situation in Gaza is dire, and that is why we are working so hard from the president on down to get more humanitarian assistance in, and it's why we were working to improve deconfliction and coordination so we don't see such a high number of civilian casualties as we have seen over the past 6 months.